You know him as the mysterious frontman in Squid Game, but the real drama in actor Lee Byung Hyun's life is even wilder than his on-screen roles. From cheating on his pregnant wife to being blackmailed by K-pop idols, this A-list actor has been at the center of some seriously shocking scandals. You also won't believe how this story ties into the early days of BTS and the disbandment of their first ever label mates, a girl group named GLAM. If you saw this actor and are wondering who he is, you have come to the right place. This story is anything but boring, so let's get into the messy history of Lee Byung Hyun. To start, who is Lee Byung Hyun? Well, Western audiences know him as the frontman in Squid Game Season 1 and 2, but he's actually one of South Korea's most successful and recognizable actors. Lee Byung Hyun was born in 1970 in Seoul to a wealthy family, and his acting career started in 1991. He took part in a KBS talent audition, which saw him land a role in the television drama Asphalt My Hometown. His big breakthrough wasn't until the year 2000 in Park Chan-wook's Joint Security Area. For those who don't recognize the name, Park Chan-wook is one of the best directors alive. He made Old Boy, The Handmaiden. He's incredible and also very famous, which is a running theme in today's story. Joint Security Area became the highest grossing Korean film in history at the time, and Lee Byung Hyun's role as a border guard soldier won him Best Actor at the Busan Film Critics Award. Off the back of Joint Security Area, Lee Byung Hyun's popularity continued to rise. He starred in dramas like Beautiful Days, Bungee Jumping on Their Own, and in 2003, he won the grand prize at the SBS Drama Awards and Best Actor at the Baesang Arts Awards for his role in poker drama All In, solidifying him as a big, famous, important celebrity actor. He got mega famous in Japan, kept booking more movie and television roles, kept raking in awards. In fact, he's so famous and so successful that he has 7 films on the list of the highest grossing films in South Korea. He's done heaps of other stuff too, and he has heaps of awards, okay? I'm just trying to paint a picture here that this guy is like Brad Pitt level famous, Robert Downey Jr. level famous, more famous than Ryan Reynolds. And a famous life comes with famous problems. In December of 2009, an ex-girlfriend named Kwon Mi-yeon filed a civil suit against him, claiming that he tricked her into having a sexual relationship based on the promise of marriage. She claimed the pair met in September of 2009 and began a full-fledged relationship by the end of that year, with her moving from Canada to Seoul to be with him. She claimed, "I left Canada to go to Seoul last July 2009 and lived with him in an apartment in the district of Chamship, but not even 3 months in, I was thrown out. After I arrived in Korea, Lee Byung Hyun's attitude changed. After he kicked me out, he gave me $10,000 for my troubles and found me a $700 rental. Afterwards, he has ignored me as if he doesn't even know me." She also claimed that not only did he cause her mental anguish, but that he was a chronic gambler, and she sued him for 100 million won, which is about 68 to 70,000 USD. Lee Byung Hyun's agency said the claims were false and that the lawsuit was retaliatory in nature due to the breakup. Lee Byung Hyun ended up countersuing Kwon Mi-yeon for defamation and extortion. But got more crazy, and another TV host named Kang Byung-kyu became involved after he turned up to the set where Lee Byung Hyun was filming and caused some sort of disturbance with one of the producers there. There were claims he brought gangsters with him to intimidate this producer, who he said was spreading rumors about his involvement with Lee Byung Hyun's ex-girlfriend. Honestly, it's kind of confusing. I'm not 100% sure what went down that day, but the proof is in the pudding, so let's carry on. TV host Kwang Byung-kyu was then arrested for assault and subsequently also charged with blackmail and defamation? Huh? Prosecutors alleged that the TV host and the ex-girlfriend had actually colluded to blackmail Lee Byung Hyun for large sums of money in November of 2009, before Kwon Mi-yeon went to file her civil suit in December after Lee Byung Hyun refused to pay. Pretty weird. Lee Byung Hyun was also cleared of any illegal gambling charges by March of 2010, with prosecutors claiming there was no evidence. The ex-girlfriend's claims for damages were eventually dropped too, due to her lack of participation in the proceedings, and the TV host was sentenced to 1 year in prison on fraud and assault charges. So all's well that ends well. A harrowing story for Lee Byung Hyun, victim of being too hot and too famous that people want to blackmail him. No, this is blackmail story number 1. It's blackmail story number 2 that is fully insane and totally crazy, but we're gonna get there. So, in August of 2013, Lee Byung Hyun married actress Lee Min-jung. She is also very famous. She's known for a little show called Boys Over Flowers. For those who missed it, it's probably like the biggest Korean drama maybe ever. It came out in 2009. Slaps. It's often regarded as the series that started the Korean wave, which is a term used to describe the massive takeover by Korean media around other parts of Asia and the West. The two were and are obviously a hot item. She gave birth to their first child in March of 2015 and their second in December of 2023. Now, remember those dates, okay? First child born March 2015. Remember that. Write it down or something because it's going to be really important soon, okay? But before we get into blackmail scandal round 2, let's meet the other very important characters in the story, a K-pop girl group named GLAM and a model named Lee Byung-hun. Before HYBE became the mega monster music company it is today, with successful groups like LE SSERAFIM, New Jeans, well not anymore, and ILET, who are totally nothing like New Jeans, and even before BTS, the company was called Big Hit Entertainment, and their first ever girl group was GLAM. The company was started by Bang Si-hyuk, who is now one of the richest men in Korea and famously signed, trained, produced and managed BTS. But he was somebody before that too. He produced and wrote songs at JYP Entertainment from 1997 to 2005 when he started his own label, Big Hit. The selection and production of the girl group GLAM also included Source Music, which for those who know is an important and very interesting factoid. The group originally consisted of 5 members: Zinni, Trinity, Jiyeon, Dahi, and Miso. Their first song, Party XXO, was a cute and fun song about love, and a lot of people in the LGBTQI+ community claimed it as a sort of anthem, as the song is about free love and opens with the line, "Can I kiss you, baby girl?" and another line, "Girl, I like ya, really, really like ya." It's actually a really fun and nice song. It's very much giving 2012, but those were the times, okay? Those were the times. And to be honest, it's still super uncommon to see LGBTQI+ positive music in South Korea, so props for that. Let's get party started. Na na na, heartbeat away. Na na na, na na na. The song did okay, not terrible, but it wasn't a huge hit and the band weren't taking off in a massive way. This is actually normal for K-pop groups. If you're not fully into the whole thing, you really will only see groups from big companies break through quickly. And Big Hit were really not a massive company at the time. The first scandal to rock the group was member Trinity leaving only a few months after the group's debut. Although the official statement cited personal reasons, rumors flew around that she was actually a fan stalker of Lee from Super Junior, and although these rumors were never fully confirmed, it was enough to hurt the group's image, enough to creep people out, and enough for Trinity to be removed. GLAM carried on as 4 members and released a couple more songs, including this one called I Like That, which did a little better on the charts and showed their unique color and dance style. What a time in K-pop, 2012, 2013. Everyone was obsessed with Versus Versace. People were still doing flips. Everyone loved those boy London bandanas. We're losing recipes. We're losing recipes. Everybody like it. Everybody like it. Honestly, this song's gonna be in my head forever. Forever. The member that you need to know is this one, Dahi. Remember her. In early 2013, BTS debuted, and from the jump, they were doing pretty well. But GLAM, unsurprisingly, became a bit sidelined in this time. They weren't making waves, they weren't making heaps of money, and BTS were trying things that had never been tried before, and it was working. So we can imagine for the girls, it was a bit of a hard time, and here is where the stories collide and our characters meet. On July 1st of 2014, Dahi and her friend, a model, Lee Byung-hun, met Lee Byung Hyun at a restaurant. Lee Byung-hun was an aspiring model, not yet well established in the industry, but she definitely had some jobs, she'd definitely been booked. Now, it's important to remember that Lee Byung Hyun got married in 2013, so he's there as a married man. He was also 44 at the time, Jiyeon was 25, and Dahi was aged just 20. At the restaurant, Lee Byung Hyun was allegedly sitting next to Dahi, but requested to be seated next to Jeon. And the interaction was flirty vibes from the start. He asked for her number. She said she didn't have one because she has mad phone bills. He offered to provide financial assistance, which she rejected. They did end up sharing contact information on that night though. And just 2 days later, Lee Byung Hyun meets with Jeon alone in her apartment, with Dahi joining them later. The three played a card game which allegedly led to some questionable interactions, like when Jeon lost the game, Lee Byung Hyun allegedly asked for kisses. And at one point, Lee Byung Hyun was recorded by Dahi asking her some provocative questions. It's clear the trio had flirty interactions, and leaked texts from the time show what was going on. Lee Byung Hyun says, "What's for dinner?" Lee Jeon replies, "What do you like?" He says, "You." "Is it going to be romantic tomorrow?" "Perhaps." "Are you still filming?" "Why not? It must be nice to be able to choose." June 31st, he attended Jeon's birthday party, bringing her Argentinian wine and makeup. Jeon claimed that while the two were alone, he made physical advances which she rejected, but Lee Byung Hyun has always denied any form of sexual contact. More messages show a bit of tension between the two, with Lee Byung Hyun seeming to want something more sexual to happen. He says, "We're seeing each other tomorrow, right? Will it be romantic? We'll see how you do." "I'll be good." This is your brain map. There's tomorrow, you, romantic, and success in my head. What do you mean by success? It means whether or not I'll succeed romantically. Do you know it's my birthday this week? Then we'll celebrate it tomorrow together. I hope you'll keep the secret. Don't worry, I really looked forward to this. When can I see you tomorrow? My mum's coming. They met for a final time on August 14th, 2014, where it appears Lee Byung Hyun and Jeon got into some sort of disagreement. She says the argument stemmed from her rejecting his physical advances, while he claimed the argument was about money. These text messages from the following day are a little more pointed. "Is your friend there today?" "Yes." "When are you free out of today and tomorrow?" "I have to go to cram school today." "When will your friend not be there?" "I stepped out of line today. I'm sorry. I think we should stop seeing each other. We'll only hurt each other." You're cutting off human relations like this, huh? So let's just check in where we are in the story. Lee Byung Hyun, super famous, married, and if you were paying attention to the dates, you will have caught on that his wife was pregnant at the time. He's out here bringing Argentinian wine as a gift, or, "Oh, when can I see you tomorrow?" While his famous wife is what, just at home, sitting around? Gross. But it was after this breakup that Dahi and Jeon allegedly began their plan to blackmail Lee Byung Hyun. They threatened to release recordings and screenshots of their interactions unless he came up with 5 billion won, which is approximately 4 to 5 million US dollars. Their plan was to escape to Europe with the money. They had their passports ready and were allegedly planning for departure, but their plan was foiled when Lee Byung Hyun reported them to police, and they were arrested on September 1st, 2014. But this would not be the same as Blackmail 1, baby. This is Blackmail 2. And the issues were not just going to go away, because this case was in the public eye. Everyone was talking about it. And worse, leaked portions of the blackmail footage came out. On the recordings, Lee Byung Hyun could be heard saying things like, "When was your first sexual experience? What part of the male body turns you on? And do you like the face more or the body more?" Very inappropriate for a married man with a child on the way. Although his label maintained he had a platonic relationship with the women, these recordings and texts were hard to deny, and the public reaction was swift. His image suffered greatly, sponsors began to distance themselves, and his advertisements were pulled, while fans online jokingly nicknamed him Lee Santa, insinuating his tendency to offer gifts or money to Jeon. Not a good time to be award-winning actor and two-time blackmail victim Lee Byung Hyun. He attempted to make amends with the public and his pregnant wife with a handwritten apology letter. He said, "This is Lee Byung Hyun. I know that many of you are very disappointed because of this recent incident. My mind and my heart are not working properly now, and I'm merely breathing to pass the days. Regardless of whether the incident was planned or I was threatened, before blaming such things, I know that it all started because of my carelessness and lack of virtue, and I deeply regret my actions and am spending my time reflecting. As an actor who received love from many people, I feel the weight of the responsibility to my bones. What is most important and most painful for me is that I disappointed and hurt those I love and care for the most. They are receiving so much unwanted attention and going through a difficult time because of me. I'll try my hardest for the rest of my life to not again disappoint my family and wife that stood by me. Though I can't take back the disappointment I caused, I'll use discretion for everything going forward. I'll try to live by doing my best with the work I'm given, and I will always reflect on how big the responsibility of the love and interest you give me is. It didn't do much to win him back any favor at the time, and his advertisements continued to be pulled from screens. Before sentencing, the girls Dahi and Jeon both submitted multiple letters of apology, with Dahi submitting 10 letters and Jeon submitting 17 letters. Once the public interest was apparent, there were days where the girls submitted multiple apology letters in the same day. They both admitted their involvement. Jeon claimed she acted out of emotional hurt, while Dahi was indebted by nearly $265,000 to her label Big Hit and joined as an accomplice due to financial desperation. During the trial, Lee Byung Hyun actually appealed for leniency for the girls. According to the girls' legal team, quote, Lee Byung Hyun has expressed that he does not wish to see the defendants punished. His position reflects a form of agreement between the parties. And Lee Byung Hyun's own legal representative said, as a public figure, Lee Byung Hyun is regretful of his actions and has requested a favorable hearing for the accused. But unfortunately, the apologies and pleas for leniency didn't do much. Prosecutors argued that the blackmail was deliberate and a calculated act. And in January of 2015, Dahi was sentenced to 1 year in jail, while Jeon was sentenced to 1 year and 2 months, both on blackmail charges. Unfortunately for GLAM, there was nothing that could be done to save their image, and the group was disbanded following the trial. At this time, Big Hit Entertainment were left with only one group that wasn't a collaboration with another label, BTS. And while the company had a couple of solo artists, actors, and the duo Home under their umbrella, they had lost a significant amount of money on GLAM. So the label decided to put their full attention and focus on BTS, and wow, look! Here we are! They're at the Grammys and shit. It wasn't good at the time though. Big Hit lost a promising group, the members including Dahi lost their careers, and Lee Byung Hyun, once widely loved by the Korean public, was labeled an adulterer and a cheat. His domestic career suffered, but he continued to push forward in his Hollywood career. Following the scandal of it all, his next Korean film was Memories of the Sword, which came out in 2015. It was actually filmed in late 2013, but because of the whole blackmail cheating stuff, the film was postponed. And then when it came out, it didn't do very well and was widely criticized for its plot. But that same year, Lee Byung Hyun appeared in Terminator Genesis opposite Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he starred in political crime thriller Inside Men, which became the top-grossing R-rated movie of all time at the Korean box office. Lee Byung Hyun also went on to win multiple Best Actor awards for the film, and in 2016, he was at the bloody Academy Awards presenting with Sofia Vergara. And cut to now, he's one of the biggest names in one of the biggest shows in the world, Squid Game, so he's fine. He's totally fine. Cheat on your pregnant wife, say sorry, get profit. I don't know, wouldn't be the first time. For his wife, Lee Min-jung, I can imagine the entire ordeal was stressful and horrible, but she stuck by him and they're still married. She does have her own going on, she is very famous in her own right. She's a working actor and mother, and she still regularly appears in TV dramas and Korean films. But what of the girls? Where are Dahi and Jeon now? Well, Jeon returned to the world of modeling under a different name, Han Soo-min, in 2016. And Dahi went on to become a pretty successful streamer and YouTuber. She stopped streaming a while ago, but she's still on YouTube with 62,000 subscribers. In 2023, Lee Byung Hyun got into hot water again after he was ordered to pay $102,000 to the National Tax Service. According to the government agency, it conducted an irregular tax audit against him and his management agency BH Entertainment in September of 2022. An irregular tax audit is basically they're coming to check you out because they reckon you're hiding money or doing something dodgy. They're not just checking in for fun, they heard something. Anyway, they found something. Lee Byung Hyun paid the fine. It is what it is. Although he did buy a 10-story building in Seoul in 2018 using individual and corporate funds, and then sold it for a 10 billion won profit in 2021. That's about $7 to $8 million US. But don't worry, BH Entertainment said the sale of the property and the tax investigation happening around the same time were completely unrelated, so I wouldn't worry about it. Lee Byung Hyun's story is interesting to me because it speaks to what level of wrongdoing we're willing to let go for celebrities. If you check out our previous video on T.O.P., you'll know that the Korean public haven't forgiven him for his light drug use almost 10 years ago, and his casting in Squid Game was controversial as hell. But Lee Byung Hyun doesn't seem to be facing the same problems. He was definitely rejected for a time, and I'm sure that there are some people who refuse to engage with his content. But overall, his career is doing fine, he's still very popular, and there didn't seem to be any backlash to him featuring in Squid Game. So why is that? I mean, obviously we don't know these people, so their personal lives are low-key none of our business, but I guess I'm just surprised at how okay with it everyone seems to be when someone like T.O.P. isn't. Like, Jude Law and allegedly Ben Affleck both had affairs with their children's nannies, and like, they're both fine. And like, first of all, like, actually, sidebar, if you're going to cheat on your ridiculously famous wife, at least be original about it. The Nanny, like, grow up. It's so boring. I've seen it a million times. But anyway, I find it interesting that although the girls did commit a crime, and I'm not saying what they did was okay at all, I find it interesting that 5 women, 3 of whom weren't even involved, lost their careers over this, but the man didn't. Am I overthinking it? I feel like I'm overthinking it a bit. Like, they did blackmail, so I don't know, I think I'm overthinking it. But in the end, Lee Byung Hyun's journey reminds us of the complex relationship between fame and forgiveness. And while his personal scandals rocked his reputation and career, he emerged resilient, both in his professional life and his relationship with his wife. Ultimately, I think it boils down to personal perspective. Some may view his actions as totally unforgivable, while others might see him as a man who made mistakes, but paid the price and moved forward. His career continues to soar, and his personal life, though controversial, remains his own. In the end, whether you choose to separate the art from the artist or not is a deeply personal decision, one that reflects how we, as a society, weigh the balance between talent, mistakes, and redemption. I think it's also interesting that, like, as more international content comes into our realm as Westerners, we're introduced to these new people and these new celebrities, and we don't really know anything about them. And then there's this whole origin lore backstory from somewhere else. It's kind of, I don't know, I find it kind of fun. But what do you think? I'm interested to know. Would a scandal like this be enough for you to no longer care about a celebrity anymore and dislike them and not watch their stuff? Or is it something that you're like, well, that's their personal problem, moving on? I'm interested to know.